Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today we are going to be going over a 100% completion guide for all of the achievements currently within Gems of War. In the most recent patch of version 3.25, there was an achievement expansion to the Steam version, so I thought it would be a good time to go over all of them. As this current moment in time, every single platform of the game has achievements, with the only exclusion being the mobile versions. So it takes around about 300 hours, I would say 300 hours plus, to currently 100% Gems of War, though about 90% of those can be done within about 25 to 100 hours of starting the game from scratch. So in this video, we are basically going to be briefly going over every single achievement in the game, starting with the most difficult ones, as they are likely to be the hardest to actually do. So we'll be going from basically the most unachieved achievements and then working our way up to the ones that are most achieved, to basically help you get to 100% within Gems of War. So let's get into that. So here is on the Steam version. I'm not sure if console has a few more, but we're going to be going over the 41 that currently exist on the Steam version, ones that basically repeat themselves. I'm going to try not to repeat. Obviously, there's some ridiculously easy and straightforward, like finish the tutorial. But let's start all the way from the bottom, where the more difficult ones will be, and the ones that actually need more guidance for. So let's start all the way with the Dark Ritual. Unlock the troop Xenos. Why does only 0.1% of people have this done? It is because he is useless, and it is also the second most expensive thing you can currently obtain in the game, as he is only available through the Soulforge. So yes, a very, very difficult one indeed. So basically, what you need to do is have Blighted Lands and Drifting Sands completed. Blighted Lands unlocks the Soulforge, and Drifting Sands completes out the dungeons so that you can do those dailies. And that brings up these two minigames that you're then able to go to. If we click over to the Soulforge, you can see a leveling system here. Never spend any of your gems on it, as you will naturally be able to level this up, but just always make sure to level them up. You basically level it just by killing things anywhere, so pretty straightforward on doing that. May take you a little while, but you'll reach level 10 way before you'll actually be able to craft this thing. Once you have level 10, you will now be able to craft yourself a Xenos, though it is not that easy, as he requires a lot of resources, as well as 3 weapons that you also need to craft beforehand. So, 50,000 souls, and all the souls required for this, relatively straightforward. Basically any soul farming team that you can really come up with, particularly things based around a Valkyrie, are likely your best bet. This will pretty much just naturally come to you over time. Gems, similarly, will just basically naturally come up to you over time, mainly from guild tasks that you complete on a weekly basis. Now, the two parts that become a little bit harder is the fact that you need these 3 other weapons, as well as the 4,000 diamonds. The 3 other weapons you can find underneath your weapon category, and each one of them requires an additional 100,000 souls each, 50 gems each, 300 of 2 specific colors each, and 3 celestial trait stones each. And there are 3 of them that you would need to end up crafting: the Eye of Xenos, all the way at the top there, the Heart of Xenos, as well as the Soul of Xenos. These 3 weapons, for the most part, are pretty much useless, and you would only be getting them for the purpose of crafting yourself a Xenos. And as far as Xenos himself, he is 100% useless, so a lot of people don't bother ever crafting him. In his current state, no one ever uses him in any team whatsoever. So yeah, he's basically useless. His whole purpose of getting him is for 2 purposes. Just so you can say you'll have every single troop within the game, and of course for the achievement itself. So, the 4,000 diamonds, this is where the hardest part comes in. The concept of actually getting it is decently easy. The biggest issue with it is you can't get a different mythic. So you're wasting these 4,000 diamonds that you could put on something better like a Ferris Ra, or basically any other mythic in the game. But because this guy is only ever available through the Soulforge, you kind of have to do it this way. So to obtain 4,000 diamonds, you just go under Games, then go under Dungeon, which you have unlocked from doing the Drifting Sands Kingdom. And then when you go here, just make sure to basically do this on a daily basis. Dungeons are a daily activity that you can do. There are 3 battles each day that you can just go and wipe through with whatever team you want to do. As an early game player, these might be somewhat difficult, but it does get quite a bit easier as you start getting some legends, as well as just some decent teams in general that start getting leveled. And you'll find these just to be a really quick wipe eventually. But if we go under our offers, one other thing that you'll want to keep an eye on is not the $5 purchase thing, but this thing. It's the 50 gem thing. It doesn't currently show that it's 50 gem, but after you've completed at least the first battle every single day, you can pay 50 gems to get a bunch of additional resources. These do give you some diamonds that you can start putting towards the thing to go craft, the Xenos. So if you are low on diamonds, there is only one day that you would ever need to do this. If you have a bunch of them, you could throw it every day. But if you are low and trying to conserve on them, the only day you would want to throw your gems to get these additional diamonds would be on a Sunday. The reason for this is on a Sunday you end up getting 80 diamonds as well as a 1 celestial trait stone. You need the celestial trait stone to get all the weapons as well as the mythic itself, and you also need the diamonds, the 80 diamonds that it will end up giving you on a Sunday to work towards your Xenos. So that would basically be your game plan, and just keep chipping it down until you eventually have yourself the 4,000 diamonds you need. So that is basically Xenos, just wasting a bunch of your resources to get a useless troop, but it is required for that one achievement, which is why so few people have it. The next one is technically the actual hardest achievement in the game, because this one is skill based, and a relatively hard one at that, as many people do not tend to play the treasure hunt that often. You have to finish out a treasure hunt with 2 or more vaults. I will be linking in the top right corner a video of which we ended up doing this on our very first try, but I will briefly explain some general strategy that you could use. So this minigame you can find underneath the treasure hunt over here by using one map and just going into this treasure hunt minigame. A really nice minigame to play as a newer player, as before you get any of the bonus armors, it is one of the best ways to actually gain resources as a newer player. One other thing to note about this minigame is it does not specifically give you EXP, so if you're ever falling behind in PvP for whatever reason, you can go and farm here to go get yourself more resources, or if you find yourself that you're leveling a little bit too fast. The main reason for this is PvP is based, or one of the many things that base what you fight is based on your level, and since you can gain no XP in here, it's a nice alternative to trying to level a little bit slower. But of course, since leveling is important to actually getting your higher level up, you'll pretty much just want to play this as minimally as possible, and basically only do it to try to get the achievement itself. So basically what the achievement is, I'm not going to be playing out this whole map here, but you're going to want to keep converting all of these resources into bigger resources, and then getting them all the way up until you can make a vault. One thing to note about these vaults is that they cannot be moved once they are actually created. So some general strategy. These bronze and silver coins, you want to get rid of them as much as you possibly can from the bottom. I have a really bad board set up for them right now, but essentially every single one of these you just want to purge from the entire board. Make sure to get rid of them as best as you can, as the more of them that are down on the bottom, the more congested your board is going to be. Another thing to make sure to note is these resources, particularly the ones that start getting bigger and bigger from the bottom, you are going to want to make sure that these are as close as possible to each other as you can. The main reason for this is you need to convert them and keep converting them into the vaults if your intention is to get yourself 2 vaults onto the board. But if you have a bunch of them all scattered around the board, if you have, let's say, a red chest over here, another red chest over here, and another red chest over here, well, you are not going to be able to make that into a vault. But if all 3 of those reds were like there, there, and there, well, you'd be able to do that quite a bit easier in a single move. And it doesn't have to be necessarily that close, but let's say if that was over there and these 2 are over here, that would be decently fine, as you may be able to drop this red chest down if it was red and get that into a connection to be able to make that into a vault. And do keep in mind, they cannot be moved. They can be dropped, as in if you were to, like, say this was a vault and you did that, that would drop right there. But let's say if this was a vault and I wanted to move this to the left for whatever reason, I would not be able to, because the vault is unable to be moved itself. But you can still drop it by dropping other gems around it. But anyways, those are just some basic things. Go watch the other video if you need a little bit more information on that when we actually did it. I'm not going to do the whole thing now, as it could take hours upon hours to actually try to do that live, so no. It is definitely the most skill-based thing achievement currently in the game, and will take you quite a bit of time, particularly if you are not experienced in treasure hunt. But if you are experienced in treasure hunt, it will probably take you less than an hour to complete out that achievement if you haven't already. So next one, complete all guild tasks in a single week. This is pretty straightforward, but basically all you have to do to complete out all the guild tasks is go to your guild and go over to your guild, and you will notice a task page here. Mine probably looks a little bit different than yours, as I have already done this. Most top guilds basically do this on a regular basis, so you don't really need to worry about it. So if you can eventually get yourself into a top guild, that would definitely help a lot in this. The easiest thing to get yourself into a top guild is if you have level 10 of every single one of the current kingdoms. This is generally a pretty easy way to get yourself into a top guild, as this is a requirement for quite a few of them. Basically, how you do this is if you go over to the kingdom page, you'll be able to level this up with gold, and you'll just repeat this for every single kingdom until it goes up to level 10. The order that you generally want to do this for is do all the magic kingdoms, then all the attack kingdoms, then all the HP kingdoms, and then all of the armor kingdoms. You can find which stat they do simply by going click on their page, click on kingdom, and it will show you it right there. And just to get you started, the ones that are magic are Blighted Lands, Darkstone, Zolkiri, Karkaroth, and Silverglade. So those would be the first ones that you'd want us to get started on. But yeah, essentially just be in any guild that will automatically complete out all these tasks. There are 6 different categories of them that you'll find, and each one goes up to 12. I forget the exact amount of gold that it takes off the top of my head, but basically any guild that has every single member contributing at least a minimum of 500,000 gold per week will end up being able to complete out this task. And most mid-game to particularly all of the end-game guilds will be doing this on a regular basis. So once you can get yourself into one of those guilds, it will basically just automatically happen for you. Next one. Upgrade each of your Guild War Sentinels at least once in a single Guild War. This is very, very easy and straightforward to do. All you have to do is go over to Guild, go over to Guild Wars, and go over to your Guild War Sentinel page. This is the thing that says Sentinels. Here you'll find a bunch of upgrade options. Just simply click each one of these up and get them to level 1, and then you're done. It is a really cheap amount of resources. You wouldn't want to do this on a regular basis because it's only really worth upgrading your Sentinels if you're in one of the top 2 or 3 brackets. If you're anything lower than that, you'd basically just upgrade them the one time that you need to go do it for the achievement, and then basically ignore them forever. So pretty straightforward to get that, and it doesn't really cost much resources whatsoever. Next one, complete all the progress events in a single week. The progress events change every single week. They can be found underneath the event tabs here over to the events. If we go all the way over to the right here, we can see what the current event is. You can tell what the event gem is by that little symbol that is a event gem thingy. I don't even know what they're called these days, but yeah. So essentially here, there are 2 of them that are ridiculously easy to do. Basically any of them related to PvP, as well as any of them that ever show a number of 150 there, as that is the lowest number it has ever been and likely ever will be. As you can see, this number is quite a bit higher than 150, though it is ridiculously easy this particular week, as it says all we have to do is kill enemies in PvP. Anything that is oriented towards PvP is super, super easy. The reason being is if you go over to ranked and then over to casual here, these casual battles are super, super easy to do simply by spamming this refresh button, as you will eventually get battles that are so much lower than what you would normally face. For example, if we go click over here, we can see stats that are like 48, 62, 30, very high stats. End game kind of stats. But if we click on this one, which has a ridiculously low score, we can see things like 20, 12, 11, which is less than half of what we would normally have to do for a battle. So if you just keep spamming out the refresh button, you will find ridiculously easy battles that have very low stats, probably half of what you would normally be dealing with. So you just keep refreshing these and doing it as you would need. And let's say, for example, you were looking for, let's say, dragons that you need to kill on a given week. Let's say it told you to kill 250 dragons. Well, you can just keep refreshing until you find a dragon on the lowest one, and there we go, we found a dragon. And quite a bit of players, particularly later in the game, will actually assist people in doing this by setting their defend team in PvP to something ridiculously weak that is related to the event gem. So it's even easier if you're around a I'd say probably 300 level plus range to start doing that if you haven't already completed it on a given week. But most of them are pretty straightforward. Most people, I would assume, get them done on the easier weeks. And it's just something that when it's PvP related, most people will just naturally do, as like this week when all you have to do is kill 500 things in PvP. That's 125 PvP battles, and Guild Wars also counts as PvP, so quite a few people just naturally get those done, maybe without even noticing it. Though do make sure to actually claim your rewards, as everything related to the event must be claimed, and anything unclaimed you will not actually get at the end of the week, so don't forget to do that. Next up, what do we have? Reach level 500. This can also be a pretty time-consuming one, and probably one of the reasons why getting 100% completion could possibly take 300 plus hours, depending on how you actually play out the game. Reaching level 500. So basically, you gain EXP from essentially everything in this game, the only exception being basically treasure hunts. Treasure hunt does not give you EXP. Anything as a result of a battle will give you EXP. The things that give you the most EXP are doing quest lines in any kingdom, doesn't even matter which, just doing the quest lines themselves on the normal difficulty or on hard difficulty will just run you through and get you quite a bit of EXP. The other method, and the quickest in the game, is to go to any challenge that you really want, or explore if you so choose, to go get the trade stones. The absolute easiest one you can do is Divinian Fields and go to the first challenge here. And this is the lowest stats you'll ever have to deal with, and basically just get any super quick team. The ones that you'll want to do for this is anything oriented towards an empower, so Mercy empowering something, a Princess Elspeth using its ability with its empower to try to get you mana into something, or in this case we're using fire bombs in order to quickly get ourselves a really quick split damage, in this case either Rowan, which you can get for free from the completing out the Forest of Thorns Kingdom, or the Sunbird, which we also have as an option here. So we just throw this down, cast it once, and we will get ourselves a bunch of EXP. And if you have particularly strong troops for whatever reason, you can even do this challenge and bump it up a little bit into your EXP. So for example, I can do it, I believe, on Warlord 2 without any additional effort, so we can still go for the single cast. I believe you can bump it up to about hard or Warlord 1 if you are still a newer player. Definitely at least do it to hard, because there's almost no difference between that, and you still get a nice 10% bonus. But as you can see, we still wipe it through very easily, and that will end up accumulating us quite a bit of EXP over time. One other thing to note that will also give you quite a bit of EXP is if your guild happens to be able to win on Guild War days. We were not able to do one yet this week, but essentially if you win on a Guild War day, it will have a little icon here that's all green that showed you have won, and this will end up giving you some seals, but the most important part is it will also give you a 100% EXP bonus into the following day. Does it show that anywhere? I don't believe it actually shows it anywhere, but it would show you underneath this thing, and it would show underneath the, I believe, the special events, it would end up showing a 100% additional EXP that you would be gaining there. So it is generally a really good idea if you could maybe even lower your guild at one point, go into a really decent smaller guild that's basically winning every single one of their Guild War battles, and then you'd basically have a perpetual 100% EXP bonus that could quickly help you and is assisting you to level 500. And that's basically the same way that you would apply to every single leveling, though do keep in mind if you are a brand new player to the game, you do want to keep your level below 100 for your first several hours of playing, simply because PvP battles, where you're going to be spending most of your time, are easier, as well as arena battles are easier when you are a lower level. So you don't want to rush your leveling too quick, but once you think you have yourself a pretty solid team, once you get a little bit past 100, you can pretty much level as quickly as you want, and it's not going to make any much of a difference. It's just below level 100 is when you really want to make sure you don't level too quickly. So let's get into the next one. We have, and that is the same method you would use for every single one related to leveling, and there are several achievements, I think about 8 of them, related to your level. Next one, complete all of your Guild Wars battles in a single week. This is very straightforward. All you have to do, you don't even need to necessarily win them, you just have to participate in them. You get 30 battles that you have to do every single week, 5 per day. These do not need to all be done on the same day. These can be done whenever. So if you want to go do all 30 of them on Sunday, you would still be able to unlock this achievement. But basically, you get 5 different battles, each one related to a different color. That gives you more points. This isn't really too relevant for actually completing them. All you have to do is basically just complete them. Doesn't matter if you win or lose, just completing every single one of these individual 30 battles. You do this on the attack screen, and you just go fight them. Do your normal battle, win or lose, doesn't even matter for this achievement, and as soon as you do all 30 of them at the end of the week, boom, you just got yourself the achievement. Really easy to do, as it doesn't actually matter what your performance is, it just matters if you actually do them in a given week. So, next up, we have ourselves defeat a Paragon opponent in Guild Wars. This is also pretty straightforward, though it would require you doing a little bit better within the Guild War battle, but essentially all you have to do is go to the same place, Guild Wars, go to the attack screen, and as you progress through these battles, assuming you have won all 4 of your previous battles, your 5th battle will be against the Paragon of the opposing guild, and all you would have to do then is defeat them, basically meaning on at least one day you have to complete out all 5 battles with a win, which is relatively easy to do, particularly if you are in a smaller guild where your guild is in a very low bracket, where you'll be able to win pretty much everything, like bracket 20 or lower. Preferably the lower the better. If you could get a triple digit bracket, that would be even easier to win out your battles, as the things around you would likely be ridiculously easy to defeat. So, next up on our list of achievements, we have ourselves train any troop to level 20, also pretty straightforward. We go under troops. This does require you basically to have a troop at Mythic, though there are 2 different ways of doing that. You can either have an actual Mythic card, which are things like base rarity mythics like this, which is Amnesia. The easier way, though, is to ascend something to mythic. So if we go under, well, actually I don't know if I have anything that I could really show it under, but if we go under upgrade and we click under ascension, you would normally be able to use the spare copies of your troops to ascend them. You should always ascend all of your troops, never ever 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 disenchant them, unless you have them already at mythic. But essentially, all the spare copies of any troops you have that you don't end up needing, you'll want to put towards Ascension. This will allow them to increase the level further. It also give them some additional stats that aren't even related to the level on top of that. So very nice, and yeah, just keep ascending them, and eventually you will get them all the way to a Mythic. And once you have ascended it to Mythic, you will then be able to level it to level 20 underneath this page, which just requires a few thousand souls, and then boom, there you go, you have the achievement. You'll naturally do this very easily just from your progressions through the game, as level 20 is currently the highest level in the game, as well as the highest rarity in the game, but these will just naturally occur as you open more keys. Keys can be found underneath chests, and the easiest ones would probably be to do the gold keys if you wanted to go and rush one of them, though you would naturally get it over time just from doing your guild tasks from your guilds, and you could probably end up doing it easily also on an ultra rare. One other really easy way of doing it is if you go over to the shop and it happens to be a epic. This is not an epic week, happens to be an ultra rare. Even though it looks like he's an epic, it's because I upgraded him some with Ascension. But whenever it's an epic, you'll know by the fact that it's 400 glory costs here, as well as if the default troop is epic before you even buy any. But whenever it's this, it's actually the cheapest it will ever cost to be able to do it. You would only need to purchase the 400 glory pack 16 times, and that will get yourself a mythic. And that's basically the easiest way to get any card to a mythic. Then simply level it up, and then boom, there you go. You got yourself the achievement if you want to go for a slightly quicker way of obtaining it. Next one, just simple leveling. We already went over that. Just get it leveling as quickly as possible, or by any means, just to get your level up. So explore any kingdom, also pretty straightforward once you have completed any kingdom. So let's just say Broken Spire, since this is the first kingdom everyone completes. Just click explore, click battle, boom, destroy out the battle, and you just got yourself the achievement. Pretty straightforward. Just have to go and do that one explore battle. Explore, also noteworthy, is the easiest way to get the best trait stones in the game, as they have a higher rate of dropping the higher rarities like Arcanes and Celestials. Ascend any troop to Mythic is a little bit of a weird one, because this would naturally basically happen whenever you do a level something to level 20, but similar to the Ascension thing, the easiest way to do this would be, of course, go to the shop, go to the glory rewards, wait till one of them is an epic, so you can buy them for 400 glory each. You would need 16 of them to get it all the way to Mythic, and then boom, you got yourself your Mythic, and you wouldn't even need to do the leveling. I have no clue how, but somehow there are less people that have the Ascension than the leveling. Not quite sure why that is. That's a little bit weird that it's like that. Normally you would think it was the other way around, but anyways, yeah, it's the same thing, except you don't need to apply the leveling to it. So even easier than getting it to level 20. Oh wait, never mind, that's correct. Never mind. What was I going on about? Yeah, so this is slightly easier than doing that, though they both basically happen at the exact same time. Assuming you can get something ascended to Mythic, you probably have the souls to also level it to 20. Actually really surprised how big of a gap that is. Okay, so reach 250 wins with any hero class. This is ridiculously easy. All you have to do is, once you have unlocked the hero class, you can get one from Broken Spire, Adana, and Zolkiri. These are all three very early kingdoms that you would likely complete, and yeah, you just naturally get yourself hero classes pretty easily just from doing the quest lines to try leveling up your hero. But if you go under hero, you go under class, and then you just set any class that you happen to have. Right now we are just a Dragon Guard, and if we go over to our screen here, you basically just need to get 250 victories. One thing to note is that your hero does not necessarily need to be within the team itself. So you can see, for example, we have 1,544 wins right now, and you'll see as soon as we go do this battle real quick that it will naturally, oops, I did not mean to do that on Warlord 2. Whoops. Let's retreat from that. But you'll see as soon as we do this battle that it will tick up by 1 after we have completed out this battle, as your hero does not necessarily need to be within the team itself, as you'll see here. And also, we'll get the one explore done that we need for the other achievements, which of course we already have done, but go do that little explosion, and then just do the simple wipe them all out again, and then boom, there we go. And this will now increase the amount of wins. Even though our hero was not within the team, it still increases it by 1. So basically the achievement is just get 250 wins is all you really have to do after you have unlocked and set yourself a hero class. And yeah, it's as simple as that. It's pretty straightforward. You'd likely get it done while just naturally leveling up your hero, or just doing anything within the game, as it's pretty much just automatically happens when you do any team. Doesn't matter if your hero's on it, you'll still get the wins. Next up, capture 20 kingdoms. Given that there are 30 kingdoms and another 31st one coming pretty soon, this is pretty easy to do. Just go to kingdoms. If it's not bought yet, you just go click on this page and it'll have an option for you to buy it for 4,000 gold or less. And then you just click that and just keep repeating that until you have captured 20 of them. This is very easy to do and something you could probably do within the first week of playing the game. So not much to really explain with that. This takes several thousand gold to be able to do. Have a kingdom power of at least 1 gold star. Now this is also similarly as easy. Basically, any kingdom that you have a decent amount of troops in, let's say you have, 6 or 7 troops within Zolkiri, which has a decent amount at the moment. Basically, kingdom stars are these things over here. Things that will increase your kingdom stars is having a troop, having traits, and having levels within your troops within that kingdom. Every single kingdom is separated. There is currently not an easy way to see what each card's kingdom is, but simply go over to your troops and click over to the sorting option, and at the moment you can basically just go through every single one of these to see how many you may have within a given kingdom. So keeping to Zolkiri, if we go click over here to Zolkiri and click apply filter, we will now see every card that we own that is from Zolkiri, and just getting traits, getting levels, and just having them in general will increase your star levels within the kingdom. And just doing this enough to one single kingdom will get it to a gold star. This will pretty much naturally happen as you reach your way to level 500, so it's probably not even something you specifically need to focus on, as you'll basically passively get it without even noticing. Next up, unlock 200 different troop cards. This is done basically just from being in a guild and then opening your keys every single week. Keys can be found in many different ways. You can buy them either through gold, through glory, though I do not advise buying them through glory, though you can if you want. Normally you just buy glory packs with your glory. You can buy them through gems, and there are different options through gems, though the best one for doing it for this particular achievement and just in general would be keeping it to the gem keys only as your main option of accumulating them all. Next up on our list, unlock a Mongo. Mongo is a completely random drop. To try to get yourself a Mongo, the 2 keys that you'd want to focus on the most are the gem keys and the VIP keys if you happen to have them unlocked. If not, you'd basically just focus completely on the gem keys to try to unlock yourself a Mongo. He's a completely random drop, he's an epic, so it'd probably take you several hundred gem keys to open, maybe even a little bit more than that, could possibly take thousands, but this isn't something that will naturally passively happen as you progress through the game, so it's not really something you specifically need to go out of your way for. Just being in a decent guild that naturally gets done a lot of their guild tasks will automatically get you this achievement just from randomly picking them up from a key. Next up, also one other way that you can get them, which I forgot to mention as that is a new thing now. If you go under the games and you go under to your Soulforge, you can find them under a brown or a yellow Soulforge stone. So if we click over here, he's currently not over here, but you can occasionally find a Mongo on one of these 2. And if you happen to see him, you can also obtain him directly this way. It's a 1 in 8 chance that you specifically get him, but it would be a way to particularly focus him down if you're getting really bad luck on keys. So just keep an eye out for that, and that would be an option. You're naturally going to do that trying to get yourself an Xenos anyway, so you'll have way more than enough resources to throw towards trying to get yourself a Mongo as well. Next one is just simple leveling, pretty easy to do. Next one, reach rank 1 in PvP. So there are a couple different ones related to this, also a relatively easy one that naturally happens. So PvP. These PvP battles over here, not the casual ones, but the ones over here, will end up giving you points that will go towards your PvP score. Battles done during Guild Wars will also do the same thing, but essentially you just keep racking out these points and you will eventually reach rank 1. The exact system that it goes on is, I believe, this one. Yes, so you basically start around 500 every single week, somewhere around there, sometimes a little bit higher than that, but it's somewhere around that general area, and you just work your way up all the way to 1,900, and this can take around 3 hours as a newer player, though it could be as low as 2 once you start getting, and even lower than that once you start getting the really quick wiping teams for PvP. And yeah, that's pretty much all you have to do, just play PvP as you normally would. It's something that you'll naturally unlock just from playing the game, as PvP is the best method currently for obtaining gold, as well as just many resources in general, like glory, trophies, and of course raiding, which gives you a bunch of additional rewards on top of just the standard raiding. So yeah, that's basically all you have to do. Pretty straightforward, is not normally too hard to do, and is simply something you'd want to do as just naturally to build up your account, as it does give you 46 glory keys every single week, a decent amount of glory, and among several other resources that will help build up your account so that you can do everything else. Next one is simply just another one related to PvP, another one related to kingdoms, another one related to level, kingdom, troop ownership, And I believe at this point that is basically everything I really need to cover with this video. Everything here forward is so ridiculously straightforward that you pretty much automatically do it, or you can just look at the achievement, do it for like 1 second, and you'll automatically just get it. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions about any of the achievements within Gems of War, feel free to leave it in the comment section below, as well as for any newer ones that may come out, and we will definitely make sure to go over. I probably won't be making a update video for every single new achievement that comes out. It will most likely just be done with all of the other update content. But yeah, if you still have any questions about them, definitely feel free to leave them, and I will address them. Anyways, guys, that'll wrap it up for this video. If you still have those questions, make sure to leave them. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Goodbye, everyone.